playing something for the fans out here. Somebody sent this to us on Twitter, and Jay was talking about making new music. He was talking with Gayle King about this. So I want you to hear this too, so you can kind of speak to this. I was actually about to speak to this before you called in. Hold on.
When you sit here, the one question everybody has is there a part of you that thinks it's time for me to get back in the studio, or you're in no rush to do that, or are you waiting till the time is right for you?
Yeah, I think...
Because we can't use the word retirement for you.
Yeah. No, I already did that. I can't do that ever again. I would say I want to make music, but it has to be something important. I don't want to just make a bunch of tunes. That's not going to serve me. It's not going to. It won't feed me. First of all,
What does feed you? What feeds you?
I have to be saying something important. It has to mean something. It has to mean something to a larger society. Like 444, for example, it was a personal story.
Yeah.
But the amount of vulnerability in there allowed for a lot of people to explore the space.
When you sit
What
here,
you think about that, Coop? Did you hear that?
I heard it.
What are your thoughts on that? Because I have a few thoughts.
You first.
When he said I don't want to make a bunch of tunes, again, I thought of a MC that is in his caliber that people throw around, who's number 1 and 2, that made 6 albums in 3 years. When he said that about making a bunch of tunes, and then I thought to myself, I always thought Jay's stuff was important, but when has Jay ever really been about making the quote unquote important songs? And what does that even mean exactly? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do we deem important? What are we saying is important? Does Jay want to make What's Going On by Marvin Gaye or something? Is that what he's alluding to? Or I don't know. I think that's a roundabout way of saying that nothing's coming.
Nothing's coming. Glad you got that worked out.
Yeah.
That's all I heard. I heard that you don't have any music coming.
And I heard also that, the guy who, again, I've always put Jay so high because of his pace and quality, right? Like he said, never been a nigga this good for this long, this hood, this hot, this pop, this strong. He was able to stay around for every single thing and keep up with the times and drop every year and adjust to it. And now, and I expect that at this point in his career, that's non-existent. So that's really not even a part of the debate anymore. It was great for one period, the first leg of his career, if you will, or first leg and a half, if you will. But after retirement, he retired in 2003. That was 20 years ago. Since that time period, it's been kind of a, hit or miss, slow burn type thing. And I think that we've been cool with the hit or misses because, at least me as a fan, I was cool with his hit or misses because of the consistency, right? And the difficulty that it looked like was happening there because he was ahead of his peers with the pace. But now that's not even a part of the discussion.
Okay. So a couple things, and let's just unpack it realistically.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, it's funny that he's bringing that up. I don't want to hold him hostage for who he used to be, for one. Because, just to be quite frank, Mike, there are a lot of people in this city, in Atlanta, that don't fuck with me about some things I did when I was like 27, 28, 29. You know what I'm saying? I'm 42 now. Right. I'm a different person than I was 27. You know what I mean? That was 15 years ago. And so his purpose and his reasoning for music and his rationale might be different because he's older now. He's more mature. He's lived through some things. He's been highly successful. He's wealthy, made a fortune, ran a lot of companies successfully. He has a wonderful life that most black men in America can only dream of having. But let's not get it confused. Most of his career was him just making tunes for the moment.
Exactly. Okay?
Yeah. His notoriety comes from him for making tunes for the moment. So he can sing a different tune right now if he wants to. And I'm going to give him some grace and some space about age and just general growth.
Right.
And being appreciative of that. But let's not be lost on the fact well, if that's the type of music that you want to make, that's fine, but that's never what we came to you for.
Exactly.
We actually came to your counterpart for that.
It's interesting because, when he says
So
stuff like it has to feed me, like, and like you said, you're not holding anybody hostage, to who they used to be, but who he used to be is the reason why he's held so high, right? And
correct.
And so volume 3 specifically, that's a very pivotal album in his career. I'm sure he wasn't inspired doing that. I'm sure that album didn't feed him. But you know what? That album gave him Big Pimpin'. That album was a bridge between 90s Jay and what we were about to get in the 2000s. And the fact that he kept working and did all of these things that it sounds like he's saying is beneath him now is why he is who he is.
And also, too, Mike, let's clear this up and clean this up, too. Like, his mission was to make the dollar.
Yeah.
But, Mike, he's just reached a point where the dollar doesn't mean as much anymore. That's what I'm saying. It's like, no, I understand that, fam. But what you can't do is pull up after decades of big money, big hustle talk, like, oh, I want to be inspirational with a message. It's like, no, I can't let you have that necessarily. That's like, here's what I'm saying. Like, Malcolm X's change is believable because Malcolm went to prison. He came out talking different. He came out acting different. Came out looking relatively different. It's Malcolm Little, Detroit Red, and then there's Brother Malcolm. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
He was Detroit Red before we went in. Came out Brother Malcolm. Mike, he ain't been through nothing like that in terms of no change for me to buy into it.
We need an album. We need an album for that buy-in. You know what I'm saying? Like, is there an album?
I don't think you
is there an album that says that, though? You know what I mean?
This is why the media not rating him properly is problematic, Mike. Because 444 is that album. And because people like Leroy Green actually run around calling that album a classic, like, he's ahead at the end of the day, Mike. That stuff makes its way back to him. So 444 is the buy-in. And people bought it and believed in it. And that's why I just be telling people, it's like, no, it's not good. In the same way when Nostradamus came out, I was like, what is that? It's like, that's not good. I'm like, what is that?
We went through it on our Patreon. Cool. We went through the album track for track on our Patreon with the fans, with Leroy Green there. We're not bugging. It's not that good. It's I'm sorry. Esquire with the super chat says, classic case of Jay controlling his narrative. LOL. And you know what? Jay's a hustler, man. Like he said, I'll sell water to a well. I ain't mad at him. It's what he does. But it's on the people to see through any of that stuff and have your own opinion. Just because y'all say 444 is nice, 444 is this and that, that's not going to make me change my mindset and just be like, yo, let me throw on Story of OJ. Let me throw on Smile, whatever. Like, bam.
Yeah.
These songs are cool, but by the level of this individual, listen, man, this is a bottom tier album from somebody with a catalog like his. I would say Reasonable Doubt's a better album. Volume 1's a better album. Volume 2's a better album. You know what? Based on the fact that we got So Ghetto, Hot is Hot, Big Pimpin' and all that, I'm going to say Volume 3 is better as well. The Dynasty's better. The Blueprint is better. The Blueprint 2 is better. The Black Album's better. It's better than Kingdom Come. Maybe. That's a conversation. Maybe.
No, it's not.
It might not be. Because Kingdom Come actually has Lost Ones on it. It has Kingdom Come on it. You know what I mean? I'll fuck with Show Me What You Got. It's a few records on there, even though I think Kingdom Come's bottom of the barrel. Blueprint 3 is better.
Yes.
American Gangster's better.
Way better.
You know what? It's better than Holy Grail. I give him that. I give him that.
Mike.
And so he's made his bottom 2 albums in the last 2 tries. That's just the reality of the situation.
Mike, the fact of the matter is that when you say it's better than Magna Carta or Holy Grail, and I know you can't stand that album, Mike, the reality of the matter is that you have no evidence that it's even better than Magna Carta. You understand you have no evidence of even saying that, right?
Because Magna Carta at least got Fuck With Me, you know I got it on there. Magna Carta has BBC on there.
It's got Oceans, too.
It's got Oceans on there. It's got, I didn't like Picasso, but, you know, Picasso Baby's fine. But you know what? No, Tom Ford's on there. You know what? There could be an argument that is better. Listen, bottom two. It is what it is. We're not going to sit here and hold this record higher than it needs to be.
Well, you know, here's the thing that we have to accept too, Mike. We do go to certain artists for certain things, and this is some more grace that we need to give them. Like, let's look at a record like What Goes Around on Stillmatic.
Uh-huh.
Part of why we hold that record so high is because that's the type of Nas record that we know Nas is capable of making, and that's his highest level. And so when we see him execute on something that we came to see him execute on, like we came to hear him tell those type of stories.
Right.
And to hear him execute at that high level is part of the buy-in. One of the things that I think Jay is missing, and this is why I don't hold 444 high, and I'm so honest about stuff like whether how much I love somebody or not, or how great they are or not, is that, well, we don't come to you for records like that now, do we? We never have.
Listen, I'm going to keep it real, man. It's that part of it. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me finish. Because the other part of that, and the grace that I want to give him, it's like, well, I didn't come to Nas for records like 27 Summers and Spicy and 40 Side and YKTV and Brunch on Sunday, but he pulled it off. So stop talking to me and go pull it off.
Mad Max with the Super Chat says, look, man, you're trying to dumb down Jay. He's always giving game while doing what he could to make $1. Maybe he made enough bread and he don't need to make another album again. He's one of the greats. Of course he doesn't need to make another album again. But that doesn't. But you know what? To be number one, he does. He's at number 2 comfortably. I'll give him that. But if we want to talk about the number 1 spot, yeah, he does need to make another album. Yeah.
This is like this interview and this conversation that he just had is why I've been saying for almost 2 years straight now, no, this shit Nas just did changes everything.
Yeah, straight up.
Everything. Because everything you're saying about Jay, oh no, we can say that about Nas now too, except for he just made 6 albums. It's like, well, he doesn't have to rap. No shit, neither does Nas.
Exactly. You know what? Who in their bracket, for the most part, really has to rap? You know what I mean? Like, let's stop saying that.
Drake don't have to rap.
Yeah.
Eminem don't have to rap.
I mean, really, let's stop. And let's keep it real. Snoop Dogg doesn't have to rap. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who ain't got to rap. Like, so let's stop saying that.
Nelly just doesn't rap anymore, okay?
Right. Mad Max with the Super Chat says, if the man's not inspired to rap, he's not inspired. You acting like that he's Dot or Andre. Jay has been outside for a long time. And, you know, it's funny you say that, Mad Max, because I was just talking to Ron today. And I was telling him that really that's when you really measure greatness, right? And that's what I've always held Jay high for. When the D'Angelos, the Andres, the Lauryn Hills, and all these people talk about, I got to be inspired. The sun has to be shifted this way for me to perform. This man, Jay, went outside consistently when he clearly wasn't inspired. Like, Jay from Volume 3 is clearly not inspired Jay from Volume 1, right? The hunger was different, but he stayed out there, and I've always admired Jay for that. And so we can't sit here and flip it on his side now and act like, oh, okay, well, that doesn't apply to the person that applied that to everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, let's not do that. We got to be honest here. And for the people who were saying that we tripping on 444, prove it. Like, what albums do you think he has that 444 is that much better than, and why? Where's the evidence, really? Because this is what I'm going to say about 444, and I was saying this before when I was about to cut you off. The production is lackluster, which is something that we're not used to hearing from Jay, right? The flow is off, which is something else we're not hearing from Jay. And then everything you just said about just the vibrato that we're getting from him is not the vibrato that we're accustomed to getting from him on a high level. He makes powerful music. There's nothing powerful about 444. I'm sorry. The messaging and all that stuff is good. And where he went with it from a personal standpoint is awesome. but it doesn't translate to being better than the rest of his pieces of work. I mean, we're just not going to give him that pass. It is what it is. If that's where he wants to go in that lane, I think there's room for improvement on that, just like there's room for improvement with anybody.
No, that's the grace that I'm going to give him. Because here's what I will give him. Well, we just watched your counterpart. We watched his flow get sicker from year 47 to 50.
Exactly.
We watched him be as versatile he's ever been from 47 to 50. We watched him make the type of records that we don't go to him for. We watched him pull off those records.
And people like myself have questioned his ability to make those type of records, and he did it.
No, Mike, and me had somebody that always had him at number one. The part of his catalog that always made me cringe was those type of records.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, it's like I hear that beat. Like when I heard the 40 side beat, I was like, no, because I had just heard The Pressure and Death Row East, Mike. You know how I feel about Death Row East. I was like, no. And then he started rapping on it, and I was like, oh my fucking God.
I mean, we're all fans of individual people, right? But if we're being objective here, there's no measure that you can sit here and say that Nas doesn't deserve the number one spot if we're talking about end to end. You know what I mean? Like, it's just no measure. What are you going to say? He's more consistent than Nas? We can't even say that anymore. That's always been the thing that people use. I used to use it when I argued for Jay. We can't say that anymore. This man hasn't made his bottom two albums have been his last two albums, and the one before that was 12 years ago. The consistency's not there. It's just what it is, Leroy. Curse me out if you want to, Leroy. This is just the proof.
Well, here's the reality of the matter, Mike. He had about Reasonable Doubt's 96. He retired in 2003, right?
Yep.
No, a lot of guys have been really great for 7 years, Mike. That's part of why he retired, because as a businessman, you know what he is? He's a thinker sometimes to his own fault. Because for him, part of why he retired wasn't just because 50 was coming. It was because he was looking at who had held these spots before and how long they had lasted in those spots. Mm-hmm. And so to go out on a high note like a Jim Brown, like a Barry Sanders, and I respect that. But what I kept on trying to tell people is like, well, he not Jim Brown or Barry Sanders, though. And so, like, he needed to keep on making material. And the reality of the matter is Mike, for the last 20 years, his resume does not reflect the MC that is the greatest MC of all time. It's just a fact.
Let me get to these super chats real quick.
Fact. For the last 20 years, his resume has not reflected somebody that's the greatest MC of all time. Meanwhile, on the other side, one guy's made 5 of his 10 best albums in the last.
And not even just that, though, Coop. A lot of his peers from that era have kept going and have made some really quality material as well. So, yeah. Dot with the super chat. Raekwon's one of the guys I was thinking. Dot with the super chat says, is Jay only competition? I guess it's Nas Jay's only competition. And I witnessed my only competition go 6 albums in a 3-year run. I'm getting in the studio and I'm getting inspired to drop an album. Oh, he says, if Nas is Jay's only competition, and I witnessed my only competition on a 6-album run in 3 years, I'm getting in the studio and getting inspired to drop an album. I mean, again, man, when he says something important, are we talking about what's going on or something? Like, what records is Jay talking about that he needs to be important? And in what way? Are we talking about socially conscious stuff? Are we talking about the lyrically I'd be Talib Kweli? Because if that's what it is, you can do that now, you know?
I mean, okay, so here's the thing about it. You know, Jay was always a great song maker. I say after Volume 1, he became a great song maker. But he didn't really have epic mic performances, really, like, after Volume 1. If you really want to know the truth.
I
if
would
people want to
say until Blueprint 2, but I understand what you're saying. He dumbed down his flow a little bit to kind of, make the radio friendly records, right?
The lyrics just like Mike, like literally the stuff on Reasonable Doubt in Volume 1 is like when he's talking on Hard Knock Life, when he's talking about spitting some of the hottest rhymes rappers ever heard, Mike, he's talking about Reasonable Doubt in Volume 1, and he is very, very right. He is very, very right when he's saying that.
I think he's specifically talking about Volume 1.
I personally do too. Yeah. I think it might be a better mic performance. It's just the songs aren't better because the feeling's not better because he's not, about to get indicted out this bitch.
I think that I don't know, man, because
mic performance. Do you remember Threat on the Black album? He stopped doing shit like that. That's why Threat is a special record. Because it's like, no, he don't rap like that for 3 verses anymore. You're not getting those 3 type of verses out of Jay anymore.
44-4s was special, and I wish we could have gotten that on wax.
You change your face, but the bullets change all that for you. Y'all niggas is targets. Y'all garages for bullets. Please don't make me park it in your upper level. Valet a couple strays from the 38 special, nigga. God bless you. No, he stopped rapping like that.
He did.
So when goes up and raps like that, we overvalued it. When really we should have been asking ourselves, well, if you're so great, why can't you make the record and still rap like that? Because the truth of the matter is, and this is why I always have the other guy.
Biggie did it.
That's what the counterpart does.
Biggie did it too.
Correct.
I go back to One More Chance remix, right?
These are the things. I've been saying these things since I was a teenager, and people keep looking at me like I'm crazy until now. It literally took 20 years for me not to be crazy.
Mad Max to the Super Chat says, I mean, I never had J1, but the Nas run don't force him to make an album to be one because the audience that likes either not going to be moved by the other work. But you know what? I understand it. People are going to be fans. Fans are going to be fans. But when you pull out the catalog 10 years from now and you try to make that argument with somebody who wasn't there, it's going to look crazy. Mad Max also with the super chat says, and how you know Jay even thinks this Nas run has even inspired him to probably think that Nas stuff is just alright. In 10 years, the Hit Boy album is going to be held high. Do you think in 10 years, the Hit Boy albums are going to be held in high esteem? I do. I think when we look back at this man's full career and we look at the KD 3s, we look at Magic, we look at Magic 3, and even KD 1 and KD 2. Yeah, I think people are going to be like, yo, that was pretty special.
I mean, I'm sorry. Like, people tried to tell me it was written wasn't that good. How'd that go?
Yeah. Dari Star with the super chat says, when the artists make music that they weren't inspired to make, it's almost always their weakest shit. Okay, what albums do y'all think that Jay was inspired to make?
Yeah, ask them right quick, Mike. I got to go check on my dog because my mom was just taking some of her stuff out of here because she was house sitting for me. And I think she may have left the dog outside. Hold on.
Okay, Coop will be right back. John Young with the super chat says, what's up, A2HH? Coop, you said that it's hard to say because Jay has to compete with KD3 and Magic 3. It's hard to do that if Nas is even pushing Jay to come out. Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says, I'll give Jay credit for trying to say something different on 444. These rappers today talk about the same thing with very little substance. Yeah. Anime Bros Podcast with the super chat says, Jay doesn't have epic verses post 1997. Yeah, right. Leroy, what do you have to say about any of this? But no, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm trying to think of what these important records are, right? And are we looking for a socially conscious record from Jay? And maybe I need to look at the whole interview just to get the whole scope of what he's saying. But if somebody who's never made a 3-point shot in their career tells you, you know what? I'm moved to make 3-point shots now, they're probably not going to get back on the court. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never made Fight the Power. You never made Death Certificate. Like, what are we talking about? Like, it has to be important. There's a lot of stuff important out here to talk about right now, Coop. It really is.
There's a lot of important things to talk about, but what I'm trying to say is that, like, you remember when Dave Chappelle was joking, like, I don't want to hear about politics from Ja Rule. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because Like, because it's different when it comes from Chuck D or M1 for Dead Prez.
I mean, because those people have a resume for doing that. Just like I don't want to hear no jiggy rap from Chuck D.
Mike, I was just about to say that. Mike, I love some booty shake. I don't want to hear no booty shake from Chuck D. I don't want to hear no 2 Live Crew style record from Chuck D.
And you know what? And to keep it home real quick, and we'll get into the show because this wasn't even supposed to be on the show's docket. But to keep it home real quick, that's what happened. That's what happened to Goody Mob on World Party. Goody Mob comes out to Get Rich to This. People didn't want to hear Get Rich to This from Goody Mob, the group that gave you Soul Food and Still Standing. And I get it. They were still young. They were trying to change too. They like having a good time. They got money. They've toured the world. But at the same time, you've set a precedence for us to come to you for the uplifting music and the spiritual music. People don't want to hear Get Rich to This from you. And it's just what it is. And it wasn't a bad song. It was just who it came from.
You can do Get Rich to This, Mike. It needs to be better than Get Rich to This, though, if we being honest.
Yeah.
Because here's the reality of the matter. It's not that Get Rich to This isn't a good record. Go listen to Still Standing and go listen to Soul Food and tell me that Get Rich to This even fucking makes it on either one of those 2 albums.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
And that's the problem. Like you said, we're comparing it to people's catalog, and your standard is your standard, right? If we're comparing Get Rich to This to the songs that were on the radio in 1999, it was good, right? But if you're comparing it to Goody Mob's catalog at that point, not so much. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Mike, you can hear Jay is moving on what's important to him. All his albums, at their core, as deep and personal records. That's not by accident.
No, this is what I'm saying.
So why would he even say that then? If he always makes important and deep music, then why does he even have to say it has to be important?
Jay talking about things on a personal level in his prime is making records like Guilty Till Proven Innocent with R. Kelly.
Right.
And that ain't fuck we want to hear from him now, is it?
I mean,
is it?
What do you? Let's go here. What do you think Jay-Z's most socially important record is in his whole career? What do you think Jay's most socially important record is in his whole career? I'll go to the super chats while you think on that. Mad Max says they're not gonna be held high, Mike. They're okay. That you're gonna say we're underrating it like Distant Relatives or something. You just wait and watch, Mad Max. I think you're wrong on this one. Anime Bros Podcast with the super chat says Coop is so ridiculous. Jay-Z on A Written Testimony is lyrically better than anything Nas has released recently. Let's go bar for bar.
Hold on. Google play Magic and tell Anime to shut the hell up.
Mad Max with the super chat says,
"Oh man,
I remember when people." He said, "I remember when people were saying the Damn was a classic. Fast forward 6 years, Damn got one classic rap song, and that's DNA. Loyalty was Pop Love with R&B, and No One's Playing Element." Well, I don't know who was telling you that Damn was classic, but let's just keep it real, Mad Max. Anything that Kendrick Lamar puts out in the mainstream is gonna be classic to them. They're gonna say anything Kendrick Lamar puts out is classic. I've heard Mr. Morale's classic, so I don't think Kendrick's the best example. But yes, what do you think Jay-Z's most important record in his career socially is? Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard to answer, you know?
I mean, the fact that we're having this conversation, you feel what I'm saying? Like, that's part of the problem, the fact that we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to the show.
Because he doesn't even, how about this? Like, even, this is where the talk is different, Mike. When Nas is talking about his man going to jail, he makes One Love. When Jay is talking about his man going to jail, he makes A Week Ago. And we go to them for those perspectives.
Right.
We go to them for those perspectives.
No, it's real. I mean, and that's the voice that, Jay has been in his career. And that's, like you said, that's what we go to them for. And what we got on 444, even outside of the production and the flow, that's not something I go to Jay for. But, that's just me. And honestly, that's something I go more so to Common for, right? Not, I know No ID is kind of a common denominator here, no pun intended, but
to be honest with you, Mike, I don't be going to Nas for socially conscious records like that. I go for him to him for introspective, thoughtful records.
Right.
But he's not the conscious record maker that people think he is either. It's like there ain't a whole bunch of eye cans in the catalog, nigga.
You know what's important? DMX slipping. That's important.
Oh, that's cold.
Scarface seeing a man die. That's important.
Ice cold.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Joe Young with the super chat says, "Inspired Jay has to be inspired." Okay. He said, "Inspired Jay has to be inspired." He was on Jay Electronica's album Spazzing Out. And you guys are really all right. Okay, we'll do that. And have great music. He bodied X and Ja Rule, Busta 2. 5 classic albums.
He bodied X? Sorry, what? He
on
did what? To who?
On what song?
Well,
yeah. When did he body X? Was it on Murdergram? No.
He didn't body X on Murdergram.
He did. I think that's what he's talking about because he said X and Ja Rule. So, yeah.
Murder? Do you think Jay bodied on Murdergram?
I don't. I've never thought that. You have more of a chance of saying Money Cash Hoes he bodied him, and I don't think he did that either. So
I was like, you talking about Blackout on Flesh of My Flesh? Like, what are you talking about?
Dari Sauer Super Chat says people still say "Damn" is a classic. See, people are gonna do that with him. Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says, "Do we want to hear Runaway Love from Ludacris?" Hell no. Exactly. No, I don't know if you think we're gonna say yes. No, we didn't. Just like I don't want to hear, "In the Ghetto" by Busta Rhymes. I don't want to hear that from Busta Rhymes. I don't.
No.
Sorry, I don't.
Want to hear it by Rakim? Want to hear Rakim do it together? I want to hear Busta Rhymes do.
No, I don't want to hear Redman make a Runaway Love. I don't want to hear that. I'm sorry, I don't. And I'm a huge Redman fan.
I want to hear Superman Lover number 17 from Redman. I want to hear no fucking Runaway Love from Redman. This is bullshit.
But see, the people who give us range, where like a Ghostface, right? I don't mind hearing a Shay Shayla Ghost from Ghost. I don't mind hearing All That I Got Is You from Ghost. I don't mind hearing some hard. Huh?
Ghost does all the things.
He does. Now, I will say this. On the Pretty Tony LP, I like the song with Missy, but I don't really want to hear that from Ghost. You know what I mean? It's cool. The push song is cool. But that's not my first choice of what to hear from Ghost.
More than you want to hear push with Missy. That's what it is.
Exactly. Give me Run. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah. Correct.
Anime Bros Podcast. Anime Bros Podcast says Jay bodied them on It's Murder. I disagree, guys. Did y'all not hear DMX's verse? I mean, I'm not mad at the assessment, but Anyway.
Mike, DMX in his prime only got bodied one time on a record, and it's Jada Kiss's verse on Blackout. That's it. That's the body count for his prime when he jumps on a record. Ain't nobody body X on no record in his prime except Kiss on Blackout. The end. That's the list of people who bodied X on a track in their prime. Like the fucking end.
Let me think about that.
Yeah. Ain't nobody body X in his prime. Like, what the fuck? No.
Because this is the thing about X in his prime that people got to understand. The energy, the lyrics, the feeling, the delivery, that was tough to compete with, man. Like, even if you think about the Rough Riders song, what was it? The anthem, what do they call it? The Ride or Die song. Everybody's spitting on there. Jada has an incredible verse on there. But when DMX comes in with that energy, that delivery, and his lyricism, it's hard to body somebody like that, man. It really is.
Mike, Jadakiss got like 6 or 7 or 8 epic verses.
He does
with a track DMX on it.
Money,
but he only
Money, Power, Respect is one of them.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
Got a bunch of records with X where he's going crazy, but that's X.
Yeah, it's only so much you're gonna do with X. Mad Max to the super chat says, now is we don't want to hear this, but when the artists don't evolve, you say that you don't want to grow up. If Hove at 50 was on some Jiggy or Jigga-ish, y'all would say grow up. You're right. We would say grow up. But what we're saying is you want to be able to keep that level of quality throughout your growing stages. And I will say this as a Jay-Z fan. I felt that he was growing with American Gangster. I felt the Rock Boys was elevation. Rock Boys is not give it to me. The Rock Boys is on some grown up shit. You know what I'm saying? And it gives you that same feel and that same elevation. So that's not beyond us to ask for that elevation and quality to be able to stay that same. You know what I mean? So no. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, grow up. But now it's more challenging to do that at 50. And instead of just saying that, you're just saying, you know what? I'm not inspired. I think that's kind of a cop-out for one of our greats. I'm just saying, in my opinion.
I mean, first of all, if you really just want to keep it 100, let's keep it a buck. Mike, once you're an artist, you're always an artist, and you always get inspired.
Yes, you do.
I haven't recorded a full rap song in a decade, Mike. Like, I still hear stuff and see stuff that make me write bars and jot stuff down and come up with song titles, whole album ideas. Like, I'm like you can feed that to the mass public, and they can swallow that, but you can't feed that to nobody that's ever picked up a pen or a paintbrush or a camera or sung or did a run for the choir. Like, no, none of us is buying that. And so, like, I respectfully, y'all think that we're being hard on him. It's like, no, we're really just offering you an artist perspective of it, because Mike and I have both been artists, so some of this comes off as fucking cap. Because that's what it would be if an artist other than him was saying this shit.
Because at the end of the day, Coop, on top of that, and this wonderful thing we call hip-hop, for people to consider you largely to be the best to ever do it, and you're not doing it, no, man. No, you want. It's like Tom Brady couldn't walk off the field. Michael Jordan couldn't get off the court. LeBron clearly can't get off the court. When you are that, you're a ball player. Jay can be whatever he wants as far as entrepreneur, all of these things. At the core, he is an artist. He's an MC. That hunger to be the best, it's not going to go away. It's not.
We just watched the evidence of that fire not going away from his counterpart.
Yeah.
So either you're conceding or you're in this fucking race.
Facts.
But don't kick that shit to, it gotta be important. No, nigga, step to the mic. Step to the motherfucking mic and go get the job done.
Was the God Did verse important? Was that enough?
What?
Was the God Did verse to rap 5 minutes, was that important enough to do that? Or were you trying to prove something? Or were you trying to put it out there that I still got it?
Mike, I learned more on Imaginary Players than I did on God Did.
Leroy Green.
You feel?
Right. No, I agree.
Like, I didn't even know they made a 4.0 and a 4.6. Damn. You can get manicures on a plane. That is platinum that you're wearing. No, I have not seen that shit before in my life. You don't wear it on West Boulevard. Don't nobody wear no platinum on no fucking West Boulevard or Beatty's Ford Road. No, I didn't know. That's more informational than the shit that he been doing. I want people to understand that.
Well, you know what my theory is, Coop. I don't think that people who are recording artists just stop recording, right? I think whatever he's recording just ain't hot. It is what it is.
You said this album, Mike, and you were totally right. I have no reason to not believe this is right, because the reality of the matter, this is what I mean about Nas changing things. Oh, no. When you got it and you're making good material, you want the world to hear it. You don't care how old you are.
Yep.
You don't care what style of record it is. Like, this is what I'm saying. This 6-album run that we're talking about, Mike, what is the quote-unquote, like, conscious Nas record?
The conscious
The
one?
truth? The Truth?
No. I was gonna say Magic 3. What's it called? It'll come to me in a second. Leroy Green got the $20 super chat showing love. He says, "Dope
this
man,
nigga making something called Pistols on your album cover, Mike.
Having fun."
Fun.
Leroy Green with the $20 super chat says,
record.
He says, dope man, beach chair, family feud, 444, fallen, anything, soon you'll understand, meet the parents, lost ones, minority report, song cry, oceans, nickel and dimes, regrets, mama loves me, what is this, Andes, most kings, if I should die. Okay, that's where I'm going to go.
Leroy.
I don't know how important Leroy thinks Dope Man is. I never was a big fan of Dope Man. I never liked Beach Chair.
Mike, these records, most of these, like almost all of those records he named, except for 2 or 3, aren't even socially conscious records. That's our point. You're making our point for us when you're trying to list his quote-unquote important socially conscious songs. He doesn't make them. I'm not holding him hostage for it, but don't sit up there and feed this shit to me like you about like that's what you're waiting for. You're waiting for that moment to be inspired to make that record. It's like you've never been inspired enough to make that record. I've never heard that type of record from you really be that great. So why are we having this conversation about it? We're having this conversation about it because it's you.
I think for the scope of the conversation, right? For the scope of the conversation of all the songs Leroy mentioned, I think Lost Ones is probably the best one that fits this narrative and best quality that fits this narrative. Minority Report wasn't good. Let's keep it real. Family Feud's cool. I think that's the best beat on 444. The 444 song is cool. Fallen, I don't see where you were coming from with that, Leroy. Anything, I think anything was just a rehash to see if they could get another Annie sample popping.
It was.
Yeah, Soon You'll Understand was cool, but, you know, Beans kind of stole the show there.
Yeah.
Meet the Parents, I've never been a huge fan of Meet the Parents, but I get it, you know.
I love
Meet the Parents seems kind of forced. Regrets, I think maybe it's the production there. It's one of my least favorite songs on Reasonable Doubt, but Mama Loves Me is great. But as far as, like, this narrative of what we're talking about, Lost Ones probably fits the best.
Like Jay walking around with a keep your head up like Tupac. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you don't make records
effortlessly. Yeah, effortlessly. Yeah. Brenda's got a baby. I ain't mad at you. Yeah, you're right.
No. Like, what we're about to do is let him control the narrative and make it seem like that's what he's waiting on. It's like, nah, fam.
Where's the Dear Mama, right?
No, the Evils, Dead Presidents.
Yeah.
A Million Questions, Streets is Watching. Them are the records we know you for. Stop making it seem like we know you for these records, fam. We don't know you for them records. And Leroy, stop capping for him and making it seem like them is the record. Listen to them records that Leroy named. None of them records we would play. Mike, we could have a versus of 30 songs. We wouldn't play any of those songs that we talking about. You want to know why? Because we don't go to him for that kind of talk, and that's not where he's best at.
Well, we need to get to our versus matchup too.
Until he proves otherwise, Mike. Because how we feel about KD, remember how we felt about KD when we hit? Well, we was like, I don't know how this shit about to go, Mike.
Yeah, I remember.
And then we heard it. I was like, Mike, Spicy is a banger. I was like, Nas is making bangers.
Yeah.
I was like, Blue Bitch is a banger. I'm like, 27 Summers is a banger. I was calling you like, oh shit, he's making bangers. There is no socially conscious record on King's Disease 1, really. The Cure, 10 points.
Yeah.
You see how effortlessly he does it? Okay.
Joe Young with the super chat says, Coop, you a fraud. Why we die? It's murder. Blackout. Them songs was great. Jay has great songs besides radio hits. Everybody says that Jay's bodies all of those.
First of all, Kiss body J and X on Blackout. J verse ain't all that on Blackout. All right? Kiss and Styles got the best verses on Blackout. Let's just get it clear. So let's not. This is what I'm talking about. When Jay stepped to the mic, people be thinking like, oh, it's like, no, nigga, that's not how it happened. Kiss and Styles got the best verses on Blackout. Go listen to the goddamn record. That's the first thing. That's what I mean. They think every time this nigga get on the track, it's like he levitates out the sky and blesses the mic, and it's like the best shit. It's like, no, he got bodied on that track. Kiss murdered all of them on that record.
That's impossible. It's Jay-Z on the song. There's no way anybody can have a better verse. Unless it's Eminem, of course, yeah. Sean Dupree with the super chat says, X had intangible qualities. Yeah, he did. He really did.
Hey, best two intangible rappers ever, Mike? Old Dirty Bastard and DMX. Because you can't fuck with them when they on their rap shit. You're not going to fade them on their rap shit.
I give you that with Old Dirty. I didn't expect you to say that, but yeah, Old Dirty is the intangible of intangibles. You don't know what you're going to expect.
Mike, when he says stuff like me and Mariah go back like babies with pacifiers, there's nothing you can do with that. Nobody's thinking like that. It's wild.
Mariah's probably like, yeah, I just met him yesterday. Mad Max in the super chat says,
Mike, you did the verses.
Like, yeah, I haven't even met him yet. Mad Max in the super chat says, nah, you don't say this for Rakim or Ray or Ghost or a bunch of other goats. Well, I got Jay above them, objectively. So, what are we saying? Like, I mean, it is what it is.
But Ray's introduction to us, I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job, had second. You know, it's like Jay didn't talk like that.
He kind of did on this Can't Be Life. But again, I think that's him adapting to the way that Beans and Scarface do things. And I think at least Face on that song kind of did it slightly better. Joe Young with the super chat says, Jay doesn't do it like Nas quality songs. That's why. Jay doesn't do it like Nas quality songs. See, it's funny how the narrative changes over years. Now Nas is the one that is just putting out stuff. And Jay doesn't put out stuff because it has to be quality. You guys really think that Holy Grail and 444, we had to wait this long for those albums because they're quality? Y'all don't believe that, do you? You can't believe that. I feel like Jay, as an artist, he runs off of consistency and runs. And he's going to give you his best efforts if he's making records back to back to back to back. I mean, really, his catalog proves it. When he takes breaks, the quality suffers, unfortunately.
Okay, so I mean, Mike, he has 7 great years. It's about as 7 great years as you could ask anybody in any genre or in any competitive field to have.
Yeah.
But he's the one that said, this is a marathon. You start off strong.
Now you wheezing in the back.
Those are words. And so when you want to talk about holding somebody to something,
yeah,
I'm not holding to my standards. I'm holding you to what the fuck you said. Because when you were in your prime, you were running around talking the biggest shit I had ever heard any great rapper talk.
And earning it. And earning it.
And earning it. And I'll give it to him. But you the one that said it was a marathon, not a sprint. And so when the person that you're comparing both to just made 6 albums in 3 years, and all 6 albums is pretty much better than damn near anything that you've done in the last 20 years, with the exception of 2 projects, yeah, we got a problem. And the problem is the words that came out of... Look, and the problem is not me. It's not Mike D. It's not Nas. It's the shit that you walked around talking when you was in your prime. And so real. I don't want to hear this conscious shit, Mike, because it feels very cop-outish.
It does. It's to say, I don't want to just make a bunch of tunes. Whoa. A bunch of tunes is what got you here.
You were the guy we came to for the tunes.
Yeah, and you did great at it. Like you said. Started off fast, now you wheezing in the back.
I'd like to thank you all for coming out. But here's the reality of the matter is the 6 projects this guy just made, only thing that you got to compete with it is what? American Gangster? And some Blueprint 3 tracks? Nah, fam. I'm going to need you to recant your statements, not switch up speeds like this. Or here's the reality of the matter too, Mike. It appears he's in a different place with his faith. Speak to that.
Well, this is the thing. And since you're speaking to the past 20 years, I think it's important for people to look. I think it's important for people to view it in this manner. What Jay-Z's catalog looks like after 2003 is Kingdom Come, American Gangster, Blueprint 3, Holy Grail, 444. You could throw the album of Beyonce in there as well if you like. 20 years? Come on now. Black Wealth and Power with the super chat says, Jay was always a better MC than X. We really need to stop getting carried away by energy and barking. R.I.P. X. Oh, how disrespectful. And then he said, maybe that ain't supposed to be disrespectful, but the way I read it, it sounded disrespectful. Uncle Fred with the super chat says, Jay hasn't been concerned with Nas for years. He is on what is important for him. But it makes an album. But if he makes an album, it will not be full of skill rhymes like Superhero Status, Meet Joe Black, or I'm on Fire. Okay, let's think about this though, Coop. Okay, he hasn't been concerned with Nas for years. What has he actually done? What has he actually done musically where he can actually feel that way? If anything, I would think, based on the music in the catalog, he would be more concerned with Nas now than ever. Because when he was beating him, quote unquote, he was concerned with him, right? Now he's not. And so now he's not beating him musically. He's all of a sudden not concerned with him. I don't know, man. I mean, I know you guys probably feel like that's more of a money thing, but if we're talking about musically and being competitive and being the greatest MC, he has to be more concerned now than ever.
Let me ask you something.
Sure.
I know you're a bigger American fan than I am.
A bigger what fan than me?
American.
Oh, yeah.
Is Life is Good and American Gangster comparable albums to you?
I think they're comparable. I would give American Gangster the nod, but they're comparable. It's a conversation.
Okay, Mike. When we do Nas's list now, you know Life is Good usually falls like 7, 8, 9 on the list. Mike, where's American Gangster fall in Jay's catalog?
Top 5.
Then don't tell me this run don't matter.
Yeah.
And don't tell me you're not paying attention. That is a lie.
Because let's be objective, right? The albums that you would put ahead of American Gangster straight up would be Reasonable Doubt. At least for me. Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, Black Album. Boom. Now we're having conversations.
Volume 1 over American Gangster.
I know you're taking Volume 1 over American Gangster. I don't know. I think that the blips on Volume 1 make me put it behind American Gangster, but the highlights of Volume 1 trump American Gangster. I like American Gangster's flow and its unskippable abilities, right? I think Blueprint 3 has the hits over American Gangster, but I don't think it's a better album end to end. But
I don't either.
And I don't think that... Same thing with Volume 2. Volume 2 got the hits. I don't think it's a better album end to end than American Gangster. So yeah, American Gangster is probably a top 5, maybe 6 if you want to be, really strict on it. You could say Blueprint 3 and Volume 1 are better. But I don't think there's a way to say that Volume 3, The Dynasty, or any of those albums are better.
So, how about this? We're clear about this. American Gangster is the best album he's made the last 20 years?
By far. I think so. I think the only other one you could say is maybe the Blueprint 3, but I think American Gangster is a better album than the Blueprint 3.
Okay, Mike, let's be honest. Is American Gangster better than King's Disease 2?
It could be. It could be.
Did you see the pause?
Yeah, I had to think about it.
Mike, if we have to think about it, well, there's Magic 3, and KD 3.
It's not better than those 3. It's not. Yeah.
Then what are we?
It's definitely not better than KD 3 or Magic. I could think about Magic 3, but yeah.
It's not even in that stratosphere. It's not in the stratosphere of those other 3 albums, in my opinion.
Dory Star with the super chat says, Mike, I wasn't agreeing with Mad Max. My point was the most people who say that Damn isn't a classic just start saying that after he dropped Mr. Morale and disappeared again. It feels performative. I agree with that. Mad Max to the super chat says, okay then, why don't you say the LL over Rakim? Then because LL did what you claim Jay isn't doing. I just think on the mic, Rakim is just on a whole nother level than LL, in my personal opinion. I think that Jay-Z lyrically is closer to Rakim than LL is. And I think that Jay-Z was able to do it over a longer span than Rakim and cover a lot of topics that LL didn't. I don't think that I think Jay's just a better MC than LL. Respectfully.
I mean, Mike, we don't even need to justify that. Rakim's 3 best albums are better than LL's 3 best albums, like by far, and it's not conversational. And so are the records on there. Next,
right? You know what? Speaking of LL though, and I know this was one of our topics.
It's like L doesn't have anything even fucking close to Paid in Full, like not even close.
Until you guys could sit here and tell me what LL's top 3 verses are, then we could start comparing him to Rakim. And I would love for you to compare those verses to Rakim, any of Rakim's verses. I don't even have to give you the top Rakim verses.
How about this, Mike? The first song, Paid in Full, is I Ain't No Joke. LL doesn't have one mic performance like that. That's the first song on Paid in Full. LL doesn't have one mic performance like I Ain't No Joke.
Does LL have a mic? Does he have a mic performance like Eric B. is president? I don't bug out a chill to be acting ill. No tricks in 86. Just time to build. Eric B. easy on the cut. No mistakes allowed. Cause to me, MC means move the crowd. This is 86. I made it easy to dance to this. So can you dissect what's coming next from the flex of the wrist? Taking needed, I proceed. Cause my man made a mix. If you bleed, he ain't gonna need no band-aid to fix. Come on, man. No. Stop mentioning Rakim and everybody else. We can't even do that.
It's Mike. Real talk. When you're talking about Rakim, unless you're talking about Nas or Jay, or unless you're talking about KRS or Kane, you shouldn't, or lyrically Cool G Rap. Those are all the guys that even need to be, like, deserve to be even. The rest of these guys don't even deserve to be mentioned with Rakim. Like respectfully speaking,
as incredible of a lyricist that I know Kane is, in my mind, Rakim's somewhere else lyrically, man. Like, in my mind, you know what I mean? Like, based on what I hear. And Kane is incredible. Kane is a 10 lyrically.
Kane is a 10 lyrically. Rakim executes the 10 lyrically more than Kane does, and that's the separation for me. It's not the capability, it's the execution of it. As in, like Lyrics of Fury, yeah. Microphone Fiend.
And how early he did this, Coop. It's like, where's this shit coming from? Like, really, his lyricism has to come from Most High or something, man, because nobody was rapping remotely to that level.
The blessing from God.
It's insane. Dot with the super chat says, much success to you, even if you wish me the opposite. Sooner or later, we'll all see who the prophet is. Well said. With that talk,
Freedom, clips inserted, babies being born the same time a man is murdered, the beginning and end. As far as rap go, it's only natural I explain my plateau and also what defines my name. And Mike, he was saying that the same year this dude sold 5 million records, and you're telling me the other guy's a better rapper. No. It's always been
on the
this
corners
way.
Popping.
Always.
Dropping some of the best, hottest rap the rappers ever seen. Yeah, it's a difference.
The smoke spot, the smoke block, fleeing the murder scene. You know me well. It's not the...
CJ Kid with the super chat says...
When you say that stuff out loud now, Mike, it's like, really?
Yeah, it's not the same. CJ Kid with the super chat says, since there's an artist version of Nas and writer version of Nas, which album would be the best introduction to blend both to a new fan? I would say Stillmatic.
I would agree with you because It Was Written still might be too dense for some people.
Yeah, because
Stillmatic. How about this? Stillmatic is when he really started becoming a great song maker without the great lyrics attached. Most of his great stuff before that was all-time great mic performances. Stillmatic has all-time great records from him without his all-time great mic performances being a part of it. Like, I don't think One Mic is an all-time great mic performance by him.
But that's an artist record.
Song from him.
Yeah.
Correct.
Andre Shashir with the super chat. Shout out to Andre, one of our day ones for real. He said Jay knows that mainstream media will always have him number one, regardless of what his counterpart does. Nas is the GOAT. But see, you know what? I agree with that, Andre. But Jay is ahead, and Jay understands what's going on out here in these hip hop streets, and it bothers him, and it always has bothered him that the grassroots have always put Nas ahead of him. I think even when he was on top of the world, 99, 2000, when he really came in, Nas, I think that's what really bothered him was the fact the grassroots thought that the mainstream had already crowned him king.
Nobody out in the streets was saying that, Mike.
Yeah. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, you said that. Huh?
I said if you was from Brooklyn, you was saying that. And if you was like buying the hype, but Mike, if you were an artist, I don't know too many people who rap, Mike, that ever really thought Jay was better than Nas, like on some rap shit.
Well, now that you mention that, again, when you hear Wu-Tang talk about Nas, that has to
how they talk about him.
Yeah, I mean that has to eat at somebody like a Jay. He knows who Wu-Tang is lyrically, what they mean to the culture, and they don't talk about him in that way.
The way that RZA, F, Ghost,
Ray
talk about Nas, listen to what I'm saying. You would think he's about 5 or 6 years older than them, the way Rakim and KRS-One and Cool G Rap are. That's how they talk about him.
They do.
They talk about the reverence like he's not even their peer. And that's fucking Wu-Tang Clan, Mike. This shit been like this.
That's respect.
They've been saying this for years, Mike. RZA did an interview, Mike, around Supreme Clientele where he was talking about Ghost Mike performance, and he was like, yeah, the best lyrics I ever heard was Rakim from 86 to 88, Nas from 94 to like 96. He's like, Ghost is operating on that level on Supreme, but that's where he went.
Yeah.
That's how they talk about Nas. Like when you're talking about Ghost's best shit, when RZA's talking about Ghost's best shit, he compares it to Nas.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, you said that Jay should speak to his faith. He dropped an album with Jay Electronica about spirituality. Nas has no album about his faith.
No, this is what I'm saying. He needs to speak to it. First of all, that album says Jay Electronica, a written testimony. We didn't even know Jay was on there until Jay jumped on there.
Yo, the fact that people keep giving him Jay Electronica's album speaks to where the catalog is right now. You know what I mean?
Reality of the matter. He piggybacked and drew inspiration from Jay Electronica and Jay Electronica's faith and expression of it. And his forthrightness and the way that he speaks about it so candidly, he drew and pulled from that and jumped in with Jay Electronica. But let's stop making it seem like it's some big manifesto, Mike. He has like 7 verses on that album, i.e. 2 or 3 Nas songs. That's how many verses.
Are we Andre 3000ing him right now?
We are, Mike, because here's the reality matter. If you want to bring up a written testimony, Mike, he has like 7 or 9 verses on there. It's like, okay, so...
And one of those verses is like 10 years old.
Look, go play Magic, go play Speechless, Meet Joe Black, and Ugly, and there's more verses on those 3 songs than he has on a written testimony. Stop that bullshit.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, I said after Magic 3, no more Nas/Jay comparisons. LOL. What are we doing, my brethren? I mean, you know, we just got to talk some hip-hop. Joe Young with the super chat says...
rich ass rapper too. She need to go talk to some rappers that ain't worth $100 million. Every time I see her around a nigga that rap, he got to be worth $100 million for her to talk to his ass. Is that heifer worth $100 million? Because I just don't like it. Every time I see that heifer, she with 50, she with Jay. Ain't nobody buying what she's selling.
Joe Young with the super chat says, you a joke, Coop, saying that Nas's last 6 albums was better than Jay's Hove classic. KD and Magic 3 is up there, but not better than Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, Black Album. You right, Mike. American Gangster is great.
That's not what I said, Joe. First of all, you need to watch who you're talking to. Stop putting stuff in all caps. You saying in all caps like you yelling. You better use your inside voice when you're talking to me, Joe. You don't know me. And second of all, that's not what I said. I said in the last 20 years, Jay made albums that even deserve to be mentioned with this 6. I don't know, Mike. 6 versus 2. I can do the math.
I can divide. CJ Kidd with the $20 super chat showing love. He says, he says, if Volume 1 has better songs than Blueprint 1, what would make Blueprint 1 a better album? Will Volume 1 need to get rid of its happy records? Or is it the sequencing? Would it need both to be better than Blueprint 1 for informative purposes? Okay, I like that breakdown right there. I think that the Blueprint... Go ahead. You give your perspective on it, then I'll give mine.
Take off. First of all, you take off I Know What Girls Like.
It's bad.
It's one of the worst he ever made. His record's bad. You take I Know What Girls Like off. If you're going to keep The City Is Mine, you put the City Is Mine as one of those records. I hate that that's after 1,000,001 Questions. And Rhyme No More. It is such a drop off.
The sequencing is bad.
Can we put that between Face Off and Real Niggas with Too Short? You feel me? Can we hide that record?
Right.
Can we hide that in the back? I would flip Who You With and Friend or Foe 98.
All right, let's do this real quick. You know, since he wants to, and that was a $20 super chat, we want to put some respect on his money too. Let's talk about all of the high notes on Volume 1. So, 1,000,001, right? Great record. Imaginary Player.
Like, one of the best rap records ever. 1,000,001, Rhyme No More. That's one of the best rap records ever.
Okay, Imaginary Player. Great record. Streets Is Watching.
Classic.
Great record.
Classic. No, Mike, those 3 records are classics. They're not great. They're classics.
Okay, Friend or Foe 98.
That's great.
Okay, Lucky Me.
Wasn't a fan. That was his favorite song on Volume 1, he said.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that either. Sunshine.
Get rid of it.
Okay, so here we are. Those are the first, we got 8 songs. Now, I skipped over City Is Mine, I Know What Girls Like, because we know those aren't good. So, we got 1,000,001, Imaginary Player, Streets Is Watching, Friend or Foe. It's 4 out of 8 right now, and those are some of the strongest records on the album. So now we're going to Who You With, Face Off, Real Niggas, Rap Game, Crack Game, Where I'm From, You Must Love Me.
First of all,
this is they're classics on here, but it's 50-50. It's 50-50. Out of 14 songs, we got like 7 bangers.
No, see, okay, so Volume 1. What's good about Volume 1 is that there are 3 levels on Volume 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's either classic, great, or bad. And that's the problem with Volume 1.
Exactly.
1,000,001, Streets Is Watching, Imaginary Player, You Must Love Me, Where I'm From, classic. Rap Game, Crack Game, Real Niggas, Face Off, Who You With, Friend or Foe 98, great. Rest of the shit, bad.
Mad Max in the super chat. Mad Max super chat says LL doesn't deserve to be mentioned with Rakim as a rapper, as a rapper career for career, as a rapper career for career.
Rap shit, no.
He said, say that to his face with the same bass because you really tweaking. LL's top 5 ever. I love LL, but as a lyricist, I can't say he's with Rakim. I would say that to LL's face, and I love LL. I'm probably a bigger LL fan than you are, Mad Max. I'm just being honest.
Mike, the first rapper I ever imitated was LL Cool J.
LL is the prototype of what a solo MC is supposed to be in this game.
He's an icon. He's a legend.
Yeah.
He has a hit sheet that few, if any, can match. He not rock him on the mic, and I'll tell him to his face.
Nobody is. You know, I don't even think. I think there's maybe 3 people who are Rakim level on a mic on a great day. It's not a lot of people, man. Not a lot.
I think it's, but it ain't much more.
Yeah.
Like you got 3, I got like 5 or 6.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a lot, man. Consistently, nah.
Give me G-Rap, Kane, KRS, Nas, Jay, Black Thought. If we talking lyrically, like operating on his level.
Lyrically, man, off the top of my head, I go Nas, Black Thought, GZA. If we're just talking lyrically.
I can put the GZA in there. I thought about Pun for a second. Pun flashed through my mind.
Now, Pun got flow, but lyrically, no, man. Nobody's rapping like Rakim. And you know what? Nas took it there because of his creative writing. The rewinds, the I Gave You Power. He took certain writings to another level, so I'll put him there. Obviously, Black Thought's pen is just, you know.
He does rock things with the mic.
Exactly. And GZA, man, yeah, he's been doing this for a long time from a core level. But, I mean, a lot of other great MCs, but it's not many people that I could put in the conversation lyrically with Rakim like that. Mad Max of the Super Chat says, and I got Rakim over LL by the way. But you need to lower the tone on LL. LL makes great songs, great bangers. But you really think LL's going verse for verse with Rakim?
He have stuck up for LL more than any other podcast that I've seen since we've been in existence.
Me specifically, like I'm taking bullets for LL.
Mike has called me at midnight about LL getting the shaft about many a thing.
Yeah,
like
I've been fighting for LL to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame way before we even did this podcast. So you know, I love LL.
Mike. Okay, for those who don't know, Mike has been campaigning for LL to get into like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame since like 2012.
A long time.
It's been a minute. It's like I had to tell you to calm down about capping for LL one time.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that Tupac should have gotten there before him. I mean, but you know, and that's Pop. Humble Bragger with the Super Chat says, hello, Brooklyn, Sweet, I Know, Party Life, Blue Magic are all trash records. Stop playing. I didn't know that was going that way.
About that, Mike, because I do think American Gangster has skips. I did.
Listen, okay. Hello, Brooklyn, I didn't like. You can skip that. Sweet, I like. I Know is dope. Party Life is dope. I like Blue Magic. Sorry.
One of my Mike, that stretch, Rock Boy, Sweet, I Know, Party Life, that's my favorite stretch of the album.
Say Hello, yeah.
Say Hello is my shit, Mike. Yeah. Say Hello is one of my favorite songs on there.
Leroy Green with the Super Chat says, Coop, we not even in the club, so how do you know these Hit Boy albums are ringing off? Jay-Z, when he was terrorizing the club, Nas didn't do what Jay did.
First of all, Leroy, you think for yourself. Yeah. You see, unlike you, the kids like me. And so I'm still outside because the kids still invite me outside.
Nas getting played outside?
Huh?
Nas getting played outside with this
Nas banging out the whip coming down Edgewood last week, Mike. So like, yeah, I was even surprised. I was like, this nigga playing Nas? It's Friday night on the block? It's like, okay, we'll take it. It's like, we'll take the win. It's like, we'll take the win. We'll take Nas for 50.
MHJ Inspirations with the Super Chat says, are y'all ready for the I Am release songs? Yeah, we ready. Uncle Fran with the Super Chat says, guys, this will be easy for you. I pay you if you can find any Jay-Z rapping about skills in the last 15 years. And then you will understand when he said that it has to be important for him. Say, guys, this will be easy for you. I pay you if you can find any Jay song rapping about skills in the last 15 years.
No, he just talks about a B and another B. and another B. And another B?
It's important. Humble Bragger with the Super Chat says, hello, Brooklyn 2.0, Sweet, I Know, Party Life, and Magic, and Blue Magic are terrible songs. American Gangster is super flawed. Joe Young with the Super Chat says, why you taking it personal, Coop? Every time I send a Super Chat, always capping, so you a hater. He said, I'm speaking facts, you mad, and your feelings. Grow up. Mad Max with the Super Chat says, Rakim don't got a freestyle like LL got in Sway in the last 23 years. And I love Rock. That's my man. We was born the same day. I thought he was about to say the same year. 28 years apart. But LL had hits for 3 decades. You really like that Sway freestyle like that? To call out Rakim? Okay. CJ Kid with the super chat says, I want to send you guys ATLians 25th anniversary where they had Andre rapping Thought Process over You May Die intro with the boom bap drums. It was so beautiful. You guys need to hear this. You know, I hate the fact that we have to blend Andre verses to another song and not have any actual unreleased verses to put out. But I'm sure it is beautiful. TJ with the super chat says, Usher just brought Nas out in Vegas. Uchiwali and You Owe Me had the women going crazy. Don't believe me? Look it up. There we go. I love it. I seen it.
He did If I Rule the World too. It's a nice little set.
Nice. CJ Kid with the super chat says, I just sent it. Listen as soon as you can. Beautiful. You guys will love it. Put my life on it. That one easy. All right.